Well, welcome back to the library. I was uh, talking with Chelsea about what kind of book I should do next. And she said something by a woman author. And I have not as many of those as I would like, but I do have some. And I thought I'd start my first woman author. I don't know, this might be a little piggish of me, but I don't like to think so. Anne Rice. The Claiming of Sleeping Beauty. This book, it's part of a series. It's part of a whole series of books. This is not Disney Sleeping Beauty. The first 5 pages of the book, you think, oh, I know this. This is Sleeping Beauty. Well, it's not what you're thinking. If you've heard of this book, you're rolling your eyes because you know what it's really about. The Claiming of Sleeping Beauty is an erotic novel written by Anne Rice under a pen name. But on the very inside cover of the book, it says, an erotic novel of tenderness, cruelty for the enjoyment of men and women. And I can say, as a man who has read this book, it is fun to read. It is an enjoyable read. It may become necessary at certain points to take a break from the book, but not because you're tired of reading, but because there are other things that need to be taken care of. Basically, the entire book is a take on the legend of Sleeping Beauty, which says Sleeping Beauty's kingdom is not the only one in the land. There are multiple kingdoms in this great big country that Beauty's kingdom is just a part of. And there is one kingdom in the entire surrounding land, if you will. They do one thing, and they do it so perfectly well that the other nations of the other kingdoms of the land, they don't go to war with this country. They don't have hostile actions towards this country, because this country, everything about it, its noble caste, its political hierarchies, everything is based entirely on a BDSM theme. S&M, BDSM. There's some stuff in this book that for some people, could be a little challenging. Everything from gender roles to what it means to be dominant in a physical relationship to what it means to be submissive. All of these notions are taken are seen through the lens of, this is a medieval culture. All the nobles, the kings and queens, princes, princesses, all of them from the surrounding area, they all serve time in this one kingdom, this one place. And in that time, they are forced to endure utter humiliation, free use in every sense of the word. When you come to this nation as a young adult, you give yourself to this nation. And that's everything. It's especially sexual. I will say this, it is an erotic novel, so it is overtly sexual. A lot of the domination to submission aspect of things, and almost entirely all of it, is written through a sexual lens. And Beauty is asleep in an enchanted sleep in her kingdom, and Prince Charming, when he shows up, he, let's just say he doesn't just kiss her and she wakes up. Anyway, the sexuality and awkwardness of me trying to describe it to you aside, these are really good books. Definitely adult books, not kid-friendly. Again, they are erotic novels. They just touch on so many extremely important points and parts of being an adult, of being in a relationship, of coming to peace with who you are as an individual, with your mental well-being, with your sexuality. Basically, these books are about finding your place in the world, reaching your utmost best through sexual exploration. The exploring being done is primarily through the BDSM scene. It's a great book. It's an extremely good book. Anne Rice is an incredible author. Everybody knows Interview with a Vampire and The Vampire Lestat and blah, 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 blah. Everyone has heard of Anne Rice. I grew up my whole life knowing who Anne Rice was. She was an author. But it wasn't until I was about 26 when I learned of the Sleeping Beauty books. I didn't read them until I was closer to 28. They're brilliant. They're brilliant. It explores every aspect of the human condition through the lens of sexuality. And it's empowering. Everything about the book, even the uncomfortable things, because I'm not going to lie, when I read this, there were some things in this book that made me extremely uncomfortable, but it was challenging. It was a big challenge to my face of what being an adult really is. And it's not just sex. Of course, it's an erotic novel, and it's heavily, I mean, let's be honest, it's pornographic. But that's not the sole purpose of these books. Isn't just to make you horny or whatever. The point is, you get to watch these characters grow. You get to watch Beauty as she is not raised, I don't know, I'm not entirely sure of how old she is, but she's adultish. And she comes to peace, she comes to wisdom, she grows as a human being through her experience with this particular kingdom. And it is not just women, the men too. All men, future kings, princes, all these people have to go through this rite of passage when essentially they give up every self-created visage of identity they've ever had and just serve utterly the whims of the people of this kingdom. It's almost a period of mandatory servitude, but they all do it, and they all become better rulers for it because they know what pain is, they know what forgiveness is, they know what that understanding can always be reached. It's from a purely historical political standpoint. It's fascinating because, again, it's an aspect of being a human that isn't explored frequently. At least not in mass. Humanity as a whole does not explore its sexuality together, or its adulthood together. But this is a really good book. Again, it's part of a series. There's The Claiming of Sleeping Beauty, I think Beauty's Release, and Beauty's Punishment. I had to look at my shelf to see what they were called. They're really good books. Anne Rice, an incredible author. I read Interview with a Vampire, I think, when I was 18, and it similarly challenged a lot of things that I had been brought up to know, that I had been brought up to understand. But the Sleeping Beauty books are brilliant. Because at one point in the series, it stops being just about beauty. In the first book, it's about Beauty. That's her only name in the book, is Beauty. And it's about her early times in this kingdom, being a slave to the prince that woke her up, and the queen who rules the land. After the second book, from the second book on, it's not just Beauty, it's also a male prince of some kingdom that's in this place. And so you get to follow both the male and female points of view while these people find their place in the world. And they're very, very good books. If you're into the BDSM scene, it's fun. It's a good read. It's a ton of fun. If you are not, or you're just if you're just ignorant of that whole scene, it will challenge you, because it's not things that people who are not in the scene can easily come to peace with. And a lot of the book is, if I can say, a little disturbing, but there is growth, there is progress, there is all types of great things throughout the series. Great books. The Claiming of Sleeping Beauty by Anne Rice. I highly recommend you check it out. And that's it for now, I guess. Bye.